Hello. Oh my gosh, my glasses are so dirty. Oh, here we go. No, they're not dirty. We are going to get you here. And what's over there? Is there anything? No. Hello, welcome. It is me, Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. Welcome to Zodiac Reads, books aligned with the stars. And today we are literally diving into the waters of Cancer. No, I hate that I have my... Today we are diving into the beautiful sign Cancer, and we're literally diving because it's a water sign. It is ruled by the moon. It is the guardian of our home, memory, and emotional truth. Cancer also marks Summer Solstice, which is the longest day of the year, and a very powerful turning point. You guys, I hate that I have this little mic here. Think of it as a miniature New Year's Eve. As a cardinal water sign, Cancer doesn't just feel, it initiates. It starts our emotional chapters, it protects what matters, and it leads from the heart. So in true Cancer fashion, we're exploring books that wrap you in your memory, your heritage, healing, and the quiet strength that it takes to begin again. These books could be talking about generational bonds, mother and daughter relationships, even mother and son, the seaside, the lake, things that are very nostalgic, and any water sign brings the emotions. If you've ever cried over a family secret, dreamed of running away, or even coming back home, these books are all for you. So let's get started with the video. And if you're new here, I have done several zodiac signs already, and we break them down into different genres or different themes. Before I start into the Cancer season and discussing the books for Cancer and the themes for Cancer, I first want to do my Gemini Wrap Up in the books that I read during Gemini season. The first book I read is The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. She's also the author of Storm book. What is that book that's very viral? I was about to say Game of Thrones, but that's actually an insult to Game of Thrones. It's a very viral book and everyone loves it. I read out of the 3 books, and I actually have the third, and I don't even want to read the third book. But anyway, I was like, I don't read this book, but this book has different perspectives, which represents Gemini. It has different forms, like it's in letter form, and then it's narrating form. I would think that if you like the other books that she wrote, you would really love this book. It is about the main character has a brother, and she's dealing with grief. She has 2 kids, and she's a single mother. It is about grief. It is about the military. And I would say that it's a very sad book. It has some spice, of course, because just like that other book, it has some spice. Her writing style is good. The spice scenes, it's not my thing. If you're into spice, then this is it for you. I had some critiques as far as like why a single parent choose to do some decisions, and this is a spoil alert, so if you want to hear this, just fast forward. But why would the single parent choose to get married, choose not to get married, but have this stranger adopt her kids? And I would say it's a stranger because I think the time frame is like within the summer. It's really fast. It's one after one sad moment happening in her singular life. I'm sure this happens in real life. However, it was just sad. It was actually a book club book, and it was very Gemini energy, listening to different perspectives. And then 2, we went back to them writing in letters. Very Gemini. Gemini is really into communication and writing. That is one of the books I read. Another book I read was Emily Henry, Great Big Beautiful Life. And these are about authors who's trying to write a story of a heiress of some sort. I find that this book was really good. I didn't dislike this book. I know that it was like giving the 7 Husbands book, which I've actually read. I enjoyed both books. I think this is great. And I think in the other book, it wasn't a love story, and this is more of a love story. So I did find myself at the beginning not caring about the story that they are supposed to write. I was just like, ugh, boring. And towards the end, I cared about that story. And at the beginning, I was more into the love story. And towards the end, I didn't care about the love story. So that was very interesting. That is the critique I have of it. Oh, I didn't give my rating. The Letter by Rebecca Yarros, I'll give it a 3, a 2.5. Okay, this book here, I give it a 4. I think it was good. I would recommend this to someone else to read, especially if they like light reading, but enough substance to keep you interested. The next book I read is by Sally Rooney, and it's called Intermezzo. And this book was really popular in 2024, so I was really curious, which is very Gemini energy, to read this book. Writing style is very interesting. It was in narration. There were never quotes in the book, but they were speaking. So I don't know if I've ever read a book by Sally Rooney, but I thought that was interesting. There are some spice scenes in here. It was really interesting, the spice scenes, because they weren't too explicit, but they were. The writing style, you'd be like, okay, you're really in this. So I think the writer is a great writer. However, I was bored, okay? During Gemini season, like a fast pace, this was kind of slow. I don't know what kind of genre this falls under, but it was kind of boring for me. But it is about two siblings, two brothers. Father passed away, and there is dealing with grief. One is a chess player, and he seems really intelligent. At the same time, he's really awkward. And there is an interesting situation with his dating situation, and the same goes for the other sibling, who is the older sibling, and he's more successful, I think, in life, far as like, I think he's a lawyer, and he has a very interesting dating relationship too. Rate this book, I would give it a 3. Okay, wasn't my best. Will I recommend it to others? Sure, but I would say it's slow, aka kind of boring. I did want to know the ending, and I was invested in the brothers' relationship. I do have to say that. All the women in here were very intuitive. Not intuitive, they were psychologically aware, and the men were just dumb. Okay, so they're not dumb, just like not aware of each other, but they are going through grief. So maybe that explains certain situations. Surprising, I've been wanting to read this book for the last few videos, if you've been watching any of my videos, and this is Malibu Rising. And at first I had it up for Taurus season because they are financially stable, and reading the book, there were some ups and downs. So the finance, and that is the money is up and down energy anyway. It's never just stagnant. So that was one. And then I put it in Gemini season because you are talking about siblings, which I think it was perfect for Gemini season, especially when it's going from Gemini on to Summer Solstice, okay? And of course, about people who are surfing. They are in Malibu. All the siblings surf. One of the characters kind of reminded me of Pamela Anderson, except for she didn't have a sex tape, but she gave the image of Pamela Anderson, maybe mixed with Cindy Crawford. The setting was time of the 80s. It does lean more into some Cancer energy because you are talking about the mother was a big part of the video. Even the father in their home was a big part, and keeping a legacy from a certain business. So yeah, but there is a huge aspect of siblings. There were different timelines, so it does jump from different perspectives, which is very Gemini, but heavy on the siblings. This is about, I think there's 4 siblings or 5 siblings, but it's about a celebrity father, and he basically deserts his family, the kids, and how they succeed in life. And they throw this party every year. I wasn't sure if this is the last party that they threw. Now, they talked about fires in here, and you know how Malibu got fires, if you didn't know, like we just had the LA fires. So I thought that was really interesting that was in this book too. But yes, I was surprised. Usually I like books that are very poetic, but I'm giving this a 5-star. I read this while I was home, and then I went to Hawaii and I finished it in Hawaii, and it was a perfect beach read. And it's not light. It had enough substance for me to be entertained and to find the characters very realistic. Yes, now I haven't read Daisy Jones and the Six. I haven't read that, and now I'm intrigued to read all her books because I did like her writing style. So that's what we have for my Gemini wrap up. Now let's talk about the transition. I'm going to first talk about the astrology signs, and we're going to talk about Gemini transitioning into Cancer, and then we'll talk about some Cancer themes, okay? And I want you to see that I am a Cancer sun. And if you see here, I have my little crab. Oh, isn't she so cute? My little crab brooch here in honor of Cancer season. So yeah, I'm looking down my notes because I want to get everything. But basically, we left Gemini all about thinking, and we are moving into feeling. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, is fast, is curious, and is mental. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and so there's emotions, there's instinctive and intuitive energy. And now we are moving from Gemini, which is all about being talkative, to Cancer, which is all about nurturing. Gemini loves to socialize, share ideas, and network, while Cancer shifts our attention inwards, and there's a focus of home, our families, and our need to feel emotionally safe and connected. We are leaving Gemini, which is going from gathering information, to Cancer, which is all about preserving the memory. Gemini is the collector of facts, shared ideas, and networks. Gemini is the collector of trivia and experiences, while Cancer stores our emotional memories, stories that connect us through generations. There's a shift to slow down and reflect, like how the moon reflects the sun, and not just gather a bunch of information like Gemini. We go from external curiosity to inner awareness. Gemini looks outward. It's an external sign for stimulation and for answers. Cancer is going inward. It's a feminine sign. It's asking, what do we feel? What do we need? And there's a more focus on emotional self-care. We go from a beautiful rainbow, a beautiful, colorful butterfly, to a crab. Gemini flies from flower to flower. It loves variety. Cancer is very protective, and it loves to nest. It loves its home. It loves to anchor. It loves to set its emotional roots. We go from scattered to settled. Gemini is a mutable sign. Cancer is a cardinal sign. So in Gemini, we are moving, we're ever changing. It's an air sign. It's very flexible and adaptable. Cancer is an initiator. That is what cardinal means. And it wants to initiate that emotional growth. And that's why we have summer solstice during Cancer, because it's the start of summer. It marks a new season, and it brings fresh starts with emotional will. Now, Gemini is all about duality, while Cancer is about the death. Gemini represents the twins, contrast, and paradox. Cancer is seeking meaning and security, and it doesn't want to have options and alternatives. We go from being light and superficial energy to legacy. Gemini loves to play. It likes to humor in things. Cancer wants to honor our heritage, take care of our elders, tend to the past, and emotionally invest in that future. There's more depth here. And now you're going from really fast-paced energy to setting that home base. Again, Gemini is quick. It's very mobile, very curious energy, while Cancer wants to pause. It wants to retreat. It's more of a homebody, not as social as Gemini. It also wants to rest and nourish. The cosmic energy of going home and recharging, especially when it comes with your loved ones. We go from air to water. Air is all about the intellect and ideas, communication, and water moves through our feelings and our intuition. We leave the mind and we go into the emotional body. We feel everything more deeply. We crave safety, security, care, and connection. From outward to inward, from gathering to nurturing that soul, from light chasing to light holding. If you are feeling this video and you really love astrology, guess what? You're not alone. This is your cosmic cue to slow down and reconnect. First of all, how do you reconnect? You can leave a comment down below. Give me my flowers. Tell me what you enjoyed about this video, some things that you would like to see more of in this video or add. Also, if you really love astrology, you really love reading, and you know others who are into this, please don't hesitate to share. Also, you can even say what this Gemini to Cancer energy is bringing up for you. Maybe you know a Gemini, know a Cancer. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share. It's how you tip all of the people who are creating content, or even pay. It helps us out so much. But if you want more, you can join my Astro Tarot Elite Club. I go really deep. Today, I'm even creating some special content for Cancer season alone in that club today that I'm posting after I create this video today. But we have deeper guidance. There's a lot of kitchen talk. We're very straightforward in that community. A lot of great predictions, a lot of guidance when it comes to astrology and tarot, and also a lot of exclusive readings just for you. So now let's get into Cancer themes, okay? Now, since we did wrap up, we talked about Gemini. Well, I guess I didn't really talk about Cancer. First, let me explain that Cancer represents a lot of things. Cancer represents your past. It represents your mom. It represents your home. Cancer also represents, because it's a water sign, it's heavily involved with emotions. It's very sensitive. There's a lot of empathy. If we look at tarot and you look at the tarot card that represents Cancer, it is the Chariot card. And the Chariot card literally is the Cancer holding his home on his back. And even with the crab, right? The crab has his home on his back. And there's a lot of security. There's a hard shell on the outside, but it's very soft on the inside. Cancers like to cling too, hence why it has these kind of claws here. A lot of clinging, also clinging onto to the past. Cancers also, look at the crab, it doesn't walk straight, it walks to the side. A lot of moving sideways when trying to achieve things. It never likes to hit things on straight ahead. Cancers resonate really heavy in astrology with the 4th house, which resonates with your home, your mother, your father, your security, your ancestry, your past, and your roots, in charge of our womb. Fertility is more Leo energy, but Cancer can also represent fertility as well, and it's also ruling the breasts, hence why you breastfeed. And when you notice when you are pregnant, you go by the lunar calendar and not the sun calendar, because that represents the moon, and the moon is the ruler of Cancer. Cancer is also very moody because it is ruled by the moon, and if you know anything about the moon, it moves, it changes signs every few days, hence why it's very moody. And when it's changing signs, it's relating to all the other planets in the sky, making it not just moody, but the different side effects. So a lot of ups and downs when it comes to Cancers emotionally. So now let's talk about some Cancer themes, shall we? When I tried to really think about this video and Cancer related themes as far as books, the first thing that I always think about is historical fiction, and I love fiction books, so there's a lot of emphasis on fiction. But historical fiction, because you're talking about time, you're talking about memory, you're talking about generation, and Cancer honors our legacy, our ancestry, and emotional truths that's passed down. And there's a lot of origin stories that happen with Cancer. Family tree, you're talking about I'm from America, a lot of books dealing with America in the past and slavery. Yeah, I'm really excited to read books on this theme alone. I like historical fiction, and it's probably because I'm a Cancer. The one that I can think of off top is The Women. Let me actually grab it. Where is The Women? I can't even find a woman. Oh, right here on my face. Okay, so historical fiction, I always think of Kristen Hanna, and so 2 books were really, really good, and it's The Women. This is about the Vietnam War, and this one is about the Holocaust, and it's called The Nightingale. Really love these 2 books. Amazing author. So I'm excited about historical fiction. I'm just trying my best not to just read all of her books for that one. Another theme, another genre that I thought of with Cancer is any book that is a classic. Now, this would be more like traditional, which is more Taurus energy, but classics are always very dealing with the past, stories that have stood the test of time, which is giving Cancer energy. Which is giving Taurus energy, but Cancer energy is giving a nostalgia, it's giving the emotional depth, and it's also gravitating towards literature that has generational wisdom, emotional weight, and endurance that is very relevant. Reading the classics is like emotional time traveling, something Cancer, the sign, likes to do, memory and roots, and deeply appreciates. So I find that classics could be really involved with, you can put any zodiac sign and find a theme within a classic, but when I think of classics, I think of Cancer and Taurus, so things that are very historic and very traditional, especially if it's involving your home culture and your lineage. Those books will make me think of The Color Purple by, I was about to say Summer Walker. Alice Walker, and also a classic book that I would think like William Shakespeare. Those are just classic books. Now, another theme that I have for Cancer is any books that are dealing with the water element. So any books that are dealing with healing, flowing, intuition, but it's more water, and a lot of books dealing with the beach, the lake. I actually have one here, actually. I'm mad that I have to come all the way to another bookshelf when I should have been prepared. But anyway, here's another one. This is just an example of a great Cancer book. This is, I can't say his name, but The Water Dancer. And it is also historical fiction and dealing a lot of water element, perfect for Cancer energy. Anything Cancer and the Moon, stories that reflect the lunar wisdom. And there is a new book that just came out. I'll put it here. It's actually on my Kindle, and I'm excited to read that. But the moon is also symbolic of motherhood, nurturing, inner world, also dreams, and heavily dealing with emotion. So look forward to books in those themes there. Any books dealing with our home, our family, our heritage. Another book I have, and it's so funny because his last name is, I think these are his last name, William Lease Heat Moon. I think it's so funny that, but it's called Blue Highways. And this book is about, Blue Highways is an unforgettable journey along our nation's back roads. And it's about if you are from United States, and he does a road trip around our nation, which is very home. Virginia, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Arizona, Mississippi, and basically like a road trip through all these states, which is dealing with your home. If you're from America, I'm American, so this is why I would say this is dealing with my home, which is very Cancer, but it could be even your home, like your house too. And I have a lot of books just on that alone, dealing with your family or heritage. If you are, I'm African American, so a lot of African American books. Most of them are dealing with slavery. I'm trying to find ones that are really good that's not dealing with slavery. But we have Homecoming by Geesia. I have that. The Dutch House. I read that book. That's a good one. Yeah, but there's a lot of great stories. An American Marriage, I read that. That's a great book. So many home books, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Any books that have some emotional depth or vulnerability. Cancer, again, is dealing with deep feelings, is dealing with our intuition, is dealing with our inner life. So books with emotional, rich characters and introspection, with narrative. Anything dealing with healing and grief and emotional rebirth, especially if it's connected to your family or your home or your children or your mother. Anything that makes you cry too, that's a great Cancer energy, or makes you feel really empathetic. Second to last, and the last one we're going to discuss in this video, the second to last is anything that's very nostalgic and very sentimental. Cancers love memory. It loves looking in the past. A problem that it won't even look in the future, but stories that reflect on childhood or your first loves, or books that are set in the past, just looking in the past and very nostalgic. And yeah, I already discussed, which is why this is a great book to go from that Gemini energy, from siblings to Cancer, because it was talking about the time of the past and how their parents, it flip-flopped from the past to the future to current times. So yeah. So then the last one, which we are going to discuss today, is Cancer and Summer Solstice. I've realized that I haven't done any solstice or equinox when it comes to the zodiac signs. Cancer represents Summer Solstice, and Summer Solstice is so big if you live in Los Angeles. There is a lot of partying. There is a lot of, Juneteenth does represent honoring your ancestry, your past, the history, and being outside in the sun, okay? Aries, the cardinal sign, and it represents the spring equinox, which is really the first New Year's for astrology. Libra is the autumn equinox, which is the beginning of fall. Capricorn is the season that is winter solstice, which is longer nights and shorter days. Now, when you think of Cancer, because it is ruled by the moon, you are like, how does this connect with summer? Why is it the longest day? And if you think about it too, the sun is the ruler of father, and also too, you're honoring your father around summer solstice, which is Father's Day. But people are more physical, and they seem more extroverted during Cancer season, but they're not. I know the sun's out and they're out partying, but if you pay attention, they're really focusing on connection and emotional connection and connection to the past. Cancer season encourages us to also connect with our inner world and our emotional foundation. After the active communicative energy of Gemini, things start to slow down, and Cancer asks you to settle more into your feelings and prioritize your comfort, focus on your security, and spend time with those who feel like home. For example, you can see a lot of people camping with their families. That happens during the beginning of summertime, or having a tradition to going to that same summer camp they went to as a kid. You have that. You have people gathering at porch. You have family gatherings. July 4th is during Cancer season, and a lot of people barbecue, and they are really with their families a lot of the time, or maybe they're with friends who make them feel safe home, outside of their home. Anyway, but a lot of family gatherings, a lot of connecting with loved ones in a comfortable settings. They're more focused on traditional things, if you paid attention. If you ever realize what's going on during Cancer season, I really wanted to get into the themes of Summer Solstice with the theme of Cancer and books. I hope this makes sense for you guys, okay? Remember, Summer Solstice is starting and emotions and connections, everything dealing with Cancer, but there is a start of. So the first book we have here is the book that I'm currently reading now, and it's by Carly Fortune. I hope I'm saying her name right. And it is called One Gilded Summer. And this book is very Cancer. First of all, the main character says she's a Cancer, and her love interest, I think she assumes he's give very Leo energy. He acts like a Leo, and very nostalgic. She talks about her being 17, and she continuously talks about her past. Also too, very close to her grandmother, which is giving very Cancer season, very close to her family, and loves to be around her family. And we are talking about a lake, and the setting is in Canada, I think Toronto. So far, the book is interesting. There are some spicy scenes in the book. I don't like spice scenes. So also too, I find that during summer solstice and during Cancer season, you do want a light read because you are dealing with things that are very emotional. And sometimes you just want an escapism, okay? Even though that's in Pisces season, but sometimes you do want a little escapism when you're dealing with something so heavy emotionally. Now, this one is also very summer solstice, right? Because you're talking about new beginnings and starting fresh. And she starts a new life in this book. And this is by Kennedy Ryan. This Could Be Us. I'm hoping this is the second book. There's a first book and a second book. I have all three, but I hope I grabbed the right one. Anyway, in this book, I think this is the one where she is a cook, which is very Cancer, and she is divorces her husband, and she is heavily into her kids, which is very Cancer energy, in her home. She wants to keep her home during the divorce, and it's also about a fresh new start. So very Cancer energy, this new start of summer solstice. Another book we have, which is also giving a little bit summer energy. They go to the Santa Monica Pier. If you see here in the book, I'm from LA. This is the Santa Monica Pier. Also too, I think even in this cover here, they're like at the Santa Monica Pier too, the inside edition. They're in Santa Monica. Also too, there's like an old vintage car, love vintage car. That's very Cancer energy. This is more of a love story, and there is some depth here. There's a lot of emotions involved, sensitivity, heavy emphasis on mother and other relationships and your family and how close and emotional connections with your family in this book. I would say for me, this was a light read, but there are some deep topics in this book, and it is about romance too. I think it's a great summer solstice book. And we wrote on here, no one does funny, emotional, and life-affirming love stories quite like Abby. I can't say her last name, but she's a popular author. I did read this book and I thought it was really good. So I do recommend this for Cancer energy, just starting in Cancer energy. You want a summer read, but you want it to have some emotional deepness in here. And you have that with this. And she is starting over because she has to, she lost her job. Her world gets changed around because of her mom. The next book we have here, and I haven't read this book, this is by Ellen Hilderbrand, and it's called The 5-Star Weekend. And The 5-Star Weekend is about grief, motherhood, reconnection with self and others. A lot of chosen family, because it doesn't have to be the family you're born with, a lot of emotional healing, and there's a lot of themes dealing with very nostalgic energy and emotional layers behind every relationship. It mirrors Cancer's protective shell and desire to emotionally reconnect and nurture others, especially during times of transition. Hollis Shaw's life seems perfect. She's the creator of popular food blog and married to a dreamy heart surgeon, but after her husband gets into one argument one snowy morning, he leaves for the airport and is killed in a car accident. This cracks her perfect life. Her strained marriage and her complicated relationship with her daughter grows deeper. So she's a mom and there's a relationship with the daughter. Ooh, I think I'm gonna read this book next. So when Hollis hears about something called a 5-star weekend, a woman summons together her best friends, one from each phase of her life, her teenage years, her 20s, her 30s, and her midlife. She decides to host her own 5-star weekend. So definitely of the past, definitely a mom. Yeah, we'll see how this is. I know she's really popular for summer reads. So another book we have, and I haven't read this book yet, and it's called People We Meet on Vacation. It is by Emily Henry, and the story is about safety, vulnerability, the journey home to someone who feels like home, and it's also over emotional comfort, and it's a very slow burn intimacy, tradition, and sentimental memory making here, okay? Emotional safety, best friends, lovers, vulnerability, heart-led discussions, annual traditions turned into emotional awakenings. Let's see. Okay, so Poppy and Alex, nothing in common. She was a wild child. He wears khakis. She was insatiable wanderlust. He prefers to stay at home with a book. He's a homebody, very Cancer energy. Also, too, in the first book that I read, The Golden Summer, she was a homebody, too. A faithful car share home from college many years ago. They are very best friends. For most of the year, they live far apart. She lives in New York, and every summer for a decade, they have taken one glorious week of vacation together until 2 years ago when they ruined everything. They haven't spoken since. Let's see if this connects Cancer energy. I just knew it was about vacation. I feel like it was a light read, but there is a relationship and emotions involved. 2 best friends, 10 summer trips, one last chance to fall in love. Okay, looks like it's dealing stuff with past too, very Cancer energy. But we shall see if that one's a reach. Another book that I have is this one that I got from the library. It's called Ma'am. I don't know if I'm saying it right, and it's by Jessica George. This is a powerful novel about a daughter balancing cultural identity, caretaking, and grief in her own emotional awakening. Now, again, there is a mother and child dynamic here, family responsibilities, and finding personal identity with emotional duty. This book is deeply introspective, gentle, and raw. Everything Cancer energy holds sacred. So let's see. It's fair to say that Maddie's life in London is far from rewarding, with a mother who spends most of her time in Ghana. Maddie, primary caretaker for her father. Oh, she's a father. Now I want you to understand that Cancer is not just representing mother, it's whoever is taking care of you as well. And her father has advanced stage Parkinson. At work, her boss is a nightmare, and Maddie is tired of always being the only Black person in every meeting. When her mom returns her latest trip to Ghana, Maddie leaps to the chance to get out of the family home and finally start living. Yeah, so this could be Solstice, a great book here. I love that. I'm interested to read it. I've seen this cover everywhere, and it's so colorful. I love that Gemini in me, my Venus in Gemini, is loving this cover. Oh, this one here, Summer Sisters by Judy Blume. The classic focuses on intense lifelong friendship between two girls who spend summers on Martha's Vineyard. While it deals with heavy themes as they grow up, the core of the story is their deep bond, the traditions they create, and how their shared summer experiences shape their inner lives and identities. But I hope you guys enjoyed the book suggestions. I really tried to get books that were somewhat light reading that makes you think of summer. Now, when you're really talking about light reading and you're talking about summer and water and having fun and romance, you're really talking about Leo season. And to me, that is when you read all the summer books and all the romantic books. But in this season, you're still dealing with Cancer. So you don't want things too light, things that are relating to nostalgia and things that are dealing with the past and things that are a little bit heavy. Now that we are into Cancer season and we had our summer solstice, if you are watching this, you don't have to read any of these books during summer solstice. Summer solstice is really just one day. But the initiation of Cancer and that first beginning week of Cancer, and then when it changes from Gemini to Cancer, I really suggest reading these books because it's great to feel the energy, the collective energy in the room. But if you're just a Cancer and you love reading Cancer books, then, you know, go ahead. You could be a Mercury in Cancer. You could have a Venus in Cancer. These are the things that you just love to sit, enjoy, and read. And get ready to see more Cancer-themed books. And I am excited about historical fiction. I'm also excited about any books dealing with the theme of mom. Look out for that. But for now, everyone, enjoy your summer. Or if it's not summer and you're just dreaming of escaping in summer, go ahead and enjoy the escapism as well. Healthy version of escapism. And I will see you guys in the next chapter. Bye.
Bye bye.